Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was Jinchuriki of Spirits? Part 2. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Dream World. Sakura Uchiha was walking through the marketplace with bags of groceries in her hands. "Good morning, Uchiha-san," said one of the merchants with a smile on his face. "Today's a wonderful day, isn't it?" Sakura smiled and said, "Indeed it is for a woman such as I, and I can't wait to fix my hubby his favorite dessert." The Rosette traveled through the market and chuckled to herself as she passed a homeless Ino who was begging for change. Such a wonderful day, Sakura thought to herself as she continued her journey through the streets, unaware of what awaited her. Sakura had eventually made it home, and when she entered, she couldn't help but notice how quiet it was. "Sasuke-kun must still be working," she said as she walked into the kitchen to place the groceries on the table, considering that he's the Hokage, instead of that baka, Naruto, that idiot would have ruined this place for everyone. "Too bad you ditched such a wonderful man like Blondie, sugar," said a familiar voice as Sakura turned to see not just Ranman, but Kazuma and Naruto. The Rosette never noticed the world turning dark or her body becoming her young genin self, as she was too focused on how Ranman and Kazuma were seductively holding on to Naruto. "You call him a baka, but you're the baka for letting such a man like him go so easily," said Kazuma while Naruto and Ranman were kissing. "That moody Uchiha could never match our Naruto-kun." It was then Kazuma's turn to be kissing Naruto as the blonde began to caress the fairy. "You only ditched Naruto-kun because he was dead weight," Ranman taunted toward Sakura as she pressed herself against Naruto, "but Blondie is not only a strong man but he is a wonderful lover." Sakura closed her eyes and shook her head to erase the image, but when she opened her eyes, Sakura soon found herself in a hallway. "Hello?" Sakura called out as her voice echoed through the path, as did her footsteps. Her thud. Sakura looked around in order to find the source of the noise, but she was unable to pinpoint where it was. Her thud. Sakura began running down the hall, taking turn after turn as the noise was somehow following her. "Please," Sakura begged as she continued to flee, "leave me alone." Boomf. Sakura fell to the floor to see that she had accidentally ran into a door that stood ominously before her. Her thud. Sakura stood up as the noise was somehow louder, and she saw that it was coming from the door. Carefully placing her ear against the door, Sakura tried to listen to what was on the other side. Her thud, moan, her thud. Sakura backed away with a small blush forming on her cheeks as she recognized those sounds. "Please don't let this be mom and dad again. Please don't let this be mom and dad again," Sakura said as her body reached for the door handle on its own. The Rosette repeated the mantra with her heart racing as her hand was just inches away before the door exploded open to reveal a set of razor-sharp teeth lunged towards her to end her life. Then Dream, Izuna's house. "Hi!" Sakura screeched, waking Kurenai, Hinata, and Tsunami up in startled fright. "Sakura, what's wrong?" said Kurenai as she pulled out a kunai from her pillow, ready to attack despite being in her nightgown. Sakura looked around in a panic before relaxing a bit. "Just a dream," Sakura said as she tried to calm her breathing, "just a horrible nightmare." Kurenai relaxed as she returned the kunai to her pack before returning to Sakura. "Are you feeling alright?" the woman asked as Hinata and Tsunami had returned to sleep. "You want to talk about it?" Sakura looked at Kurenai, fear still evident in the Rosette's eyes, and asked, Have you ever broken someone's heart so bad that it hurts you as well?" Confused at the question, Kurenai sat next to Sakura and said, "I've had many admirers, but I have never actually been romantically involved. That wasn't a mission." "Why do you ask?" Sakura hugged her knees as she wanted to tell the woman about her dream, but the dream was all too real to recount without going into a panic. "It's about what Ranman had said to you, isn't it?" Kurenai asked as she received a small nod from the girl. "Yes," said Sakura as the girl's words rung in her head. "She told me about how Naruto doesn't see me as a friend, and after what had happened during training I think I'm actually starting to believe that." The Rosette mentally chuckled as she remembered how Naruto was orbiting in her life, but now Sakura felt something empty in her world, something was missing. "It's almost funny," Sakura said as she thought of what was missing. "You really don't know what you have until it's gone." Kurenai saw the disheartened look on Sakura's and said, "Why not try and repair what you have broken?" Sakura looked at the woman with confusion and Kurenai then said, "Just try talking to him instead of insulting or hitting him. Pushing Naruto aside for someone else when he needs help won't help as well. From what I've heard about him I'm surprised he's even still alive or isn't completely insane." Sakura felt a chill as she remembered what Kakashi had said about Naruto being unloved and couldn't help but blame herself for being a part of that. "I'm going to try and fix this, Naruto," Sakura thought as she looked out the window towards the night sky. "I promise that I can be a better friend to you." Forest. Morning had arrived as Naruto was fast asleep against a tree, completely unaware of his surroundings and of a feminine figure in a pink kimono approaching him. The figure kneeled next to the sleeping blonde and slowly reached their hand towards him. "Hey," said the figure with a soft voice as they gently shook Naruto's shoulder, "wake up. You're going to catch a cold like that." The blonde slowly woke up to see a young girl next to him with a concerned look on her face. "Must have overdone it last night," Naruto groggily said as he rubbed the sleep out of his eyes. "I take it you were training?" The young girl asked as she pointed to the blonde's hit eye. "You must be a ninja." Naruto smirked as he said, "You betcha, and I'm going to become Hokage one day." The girl giggled as the blonde couldn't help but think that she was really cute. "That is quite a goal for someone as young as yourself," the girl said with a soft smile as she adjusted the basket in her arms. "What's with the basket?" Naruto asked as he saw some of the plants and herbs. "I'm collecting special herbs for my friend," the girl said as she looked at the field that was surrounded by the trees. "He's injured and the herbs around here can help him with his recovery. Care to help me?" The blonde nodded as he helped the girl pick herbs with ancient Troyaman guiding him. This continued for a little while until the girl looked at him. "Is there someone you wish to protect?" the girl asked out of the blue, surprising Naruto due to the suddenness of the question. Naruto thought for a moment on the question asked of him. He never had anyone for such a long time. No parents. No siblings. No one but himself. But that had changed over time as the Ichirakus, the Sandaime Hokage, Iruka, Konohamaru, Shino, and a few others had entered his life. Even the legendary warriors had become a part of his life with their wisdom and guidance, along with become something sort of like a family. "Yeah," Naruto said as a true smile formed on his face. "Yes, I do have people that I want to protect." The girl smiled as she said, "That's good. When someone has something important to protect, that is when they become truly strong. I am willing to do everything that I can to help my friend achieve his dream, as he had saved me from a terrible life. I owe him so much, so it is only right that I help him with his dream." The girl soon stood up and said, "Thank you for helping me. These should be of great help." Naruto watched the girl walk away until she stopped. "Oh, and by the way," the girl said without looking at the blonde, "I'm a boy." Naruto froze in absolute shock as the young boy had vanished into the thick forest. "I can't believe I thought he was cute," Naruto thought as a few of the legendary warriors chuckled at his small plight. While it was amusing, Ancient Sphinxman said as he remained stoic, "The young boy is right about true strength." "You mean about having someone precious to me?" Naruto asked as he thought about the question he was asked. "Precisely," Ancient Sphinxman said as the laughter of the other legendary warriors had died down. "As long as you keep the bonds you share with your friends, they shall help you bring out your full power, Naruto." Said blonde nodded as he thought of everyone that he held dear to him. "There you are, Naruto-san," said a familiar voice as Naruto looked to see Shino approaching him. "Your sensei sent me here to check up on you since you didn't return last night." "Sorry about that," Naruto said with a guilty chuckle. "I must have overdone it with my training." The duo began to walk through the woods towards Tazuna's house as the refreshing forest scent wafted around them. "I would like to spar with you, Naruto-san," Shino suddenly said, getting the blonde's attention, or more correctly, with one of your spirits. "Isn't this the wrong time to ask for a spar?" Naruto asked as he knew now wasn't a good time for a simple training fight. "True," Shino said as he suddenly stopped, causing Naruto to stop next to him, "but Kakashi-sensei had told us that he met up with a warrior in red armor that went by the name of Agunamon." "I know," Naruto said before something dawned on him. If Kakashi-sensei saw Agunamon, then did he? "He never mentioned anything about you, Naruto-san," Shino then said as the blonde felt something crawling on his skin, "but I believe that he knew more than what he was leading on." Naruto saw the two beetles fly off his hand before landing on Shino, revealing that they were his Kakachu beetles. "Forgive me for planting a couple of my beetles on you," Shino said, a hand up in a peaceful manner, "but know that I was only concerned for you, my friend." Naruto nodded slowly with a silent thanks towards the Aburami clan member, while at the same time letting Shino know to do something else next time. When he mentioned that Agunamon was allied with Ranamon, Sakura jumped at the chance of meeting her by challenging her. Shino then said as Naruto let out a startled sound. "Why would Sakura do that?" Naruto asked with surprise. "I mean, I expected the team Kiba, but Sakura. I really don't know if I should laugh or just be disappointed in her. She only said something about asking Ranamon more about you." Shino continued, "However, Kurenai-sensei wants us to be wary as we do not know if Agunamon's group are either with or against us. So the only way out of this is to either accept or run away." Naruto said as he stuck his hands in his pockets. "What do you think I should do?" Shino looked at the blonde and said, "It would probably be best to accept because if you run away, you would probably end up dishonoring the legendary warriors for not accepting a challenge no matter how petty the reasons." Naruto let out a thoughtful hum as ancient Greymon entered his mind. "Accept their challenge," the warrior of fire said, "and let them know that we are allies who are unbound to any village as we search for our clan." Shino saw the smirk on Naruto's face as the blonde then said, "Tell them that I accept the challenge and that a friend of Agunamon and Ranamon will meet them in the forest where my team learned about chakra control." Shino nodded as a swarm of beetles crawled out of his jacket and formed a copy of Naruto right before said blonde. "We will let them know," Shino said as he motioned to Naruto. "I'll also let you know when we are close." The real Naruto nodded as Shino and the other Naruto left before pondering on which spirit to use. "I think," the blonde said with a smirk on his face, "I should bring a real spark into this fight." Time had passed as both Team 7 and Team 8 arrived to the designated area where one of Ranamon's friends was to meet them. "This is the area," Kakashi said as he observed the place, "so where's Ranamon's friend? Maybe they got scared because of what they'll have to face." Kiba said with a maniac smirk of confidence. "That's what you think," said a voice as it echoed through the forest, alerting all the ninja into a stance. Before any of them could make a move, an armored figure wearing navy blue armor that made him look like a rhinoceros beetle landed right in front of them after jumping from a tree. "You must be the Konoha ninjas that challenged us," the figure said as he stood on his feet, giving him a slightly intimidating look due to the shoulder spikes and the large horn on his head. "Name's Beetleman, and I was sent here to fight you guys." Beetleman looked at the group and said, "So which of you wants to fight me?" Sasuke, Kiba, Shino, Naruto, and a reluctant Sakura stepped forward as a means of accepting the challenge. "Alright," said Beetleman as he rolled his shoulders, "and to show that I'm a nice guy, I let the nice lady go first, and I'm only going to use good old-fashioned hand-to-hand to make things fair." "I wanted to fight Ranamon," Sakura said as she drew out a kunai, "but I guess I can still get some answers from you." Beetleman got into a stance and motioned the Rosette to make the first move as he said, "Don't expect a lot of answers as I'm only here for a fight." No sooner had Beetleman finished his statement, Sakura rushed forward with a horizontal slash, but missed when the android Digimon jumped high into the air. Looking up, Sakura saw Beetleman stretch out a leg with an axe kick aimed at her and quickly rolled away as Beetleman missed. Taking advantage of the situation, Sakura went in for a punch aimed at the side of the armored warrior's head. She missed as Beetleman leaned back and caught her fist by the wrist before tossing her aside into a bunch of bushes nearby. "You're not much of a challenge," Beetleman said with his arms crossed as Sakura rushed out to attack him, but missed as he just jumped over her with a twist that allowed him to be right behind Sakura. Agunamon must have overheard wrong when he learned that you know just enough to get by as a ninja. Sakura was then given a powerful kick that sent her crashing into a tree, taking her out of commission. "Here we go," said Beetleman as he carefully picked the unconscious Sakura and set her up against a tree near the ninjas. "Why are you being nice?" Kiba asked before getting a scolding growl from Kurenai. The challenge was never a fight to the death, Beetleman began as he stepped back while Hinata tended to Sakura's injuries, "and I'm also to let you know that we are only searching for our lost clan." "But how does this relate to the dobe?" Sasuke asked, ignoring Kakashi when the Jonin placed a hand on his shoulder. "We believe that Naruto Uzumaki might be a clue as to where our clan is," Beetleman said as he let out a sigh. "Naruto has certain traits of our clan, so we believe that we might be able to find our clan through him. Good luck with that," Kiba said as he marched towards the android Digimon. "I'm up next." Kiba immediately went into his clan's Taijutsu stance, while Beetleman went back into his stance before the Inyazuka jumped in for the attack. Beetleman quickly jumped back to avoid the attack before throwing a punch that hit Kiba in the face. Kiba quickly gave the android Digimon a kick to the head that was blocked when Beetleman brought his arms up to intercept the attack. Kiba then felt himself being thrown to the side and quickly flipped to avoid rolling on the ground before preventing himself from colliding into a tree. "You're not a bad fighter," Kiba said with a smirk, "but you're not as fast with that armor on, and I have to put in a little more effort into each attack." "Likewise," Beetleman said as he smirked under his mask, "You're pretty fast, not as fast as Kazumon or Ranamon, but still fast." With a quick battle cry, Kiba quickly rushed towards his opponent with an attack ready. Beetleman however lowered his head and rushed towards Kiba before the two collided as the Inyazuka avoided getting hit in the gut by stepping to the side and grabbing the horn. What Kiba didn't expect was Beetleman slamming him into the ground in a suplex-like manner. Beetleman quickly got up and placed an arm lightly on the Inyazuka's throat, signaling that the fight was over. "That wasn't a bad fight," Beetleman admitted as he helped Kiba to his feet and offered a handshake. "Yeah," Kiba said with a smile, "it'd probably won if you hadn't used that horn. Can't win them all I guess." Before anything else was said, Sasuke approached the two and got into his fighting stance. "Now it's my turn," Sasuke said with fierce determination, "and you're not going to win as easily." "We'll see about that," Beetleman said as Kiba went to the sidelines where the others were. "Alright," Naruto thought as he got into a fighting stance, "I really need to be careful here. Sasuke's pretty strong, and I can't use any of Beetleman's powers. Gonna have to wing it this time." I stood still, waiting for the other to make a move until Beetleman rushed in for an attack. Sasuke quickly dodged before giving the android Digimon a powerful punch into the face, then giving him a following kick. Beetleman rolled on the ground before bouncing onto his feet and shook the cobwebs out of his skull. Quickly taking advantage of the situation, Sasuke rushed towards Beetleman with a punch ready but missed as the armored warrior jumped back after regaining his senses. Beetleman quickly used a tree behind him to launch himself into a twist as he was behind Sasuke before grabbing the Uchiha and tossing him to the side. Sasuke rolled on the ground and got to his feet as the armor warrior rushed him with a powerful kick. The Uchiha was able to block the attack just in time to lessen what could have been a knockout hit, but the power behind the attack had launched him to the side near the others. Can't believe I'm winning against a team this time, Naruto thought to himself as he had to contain his excitement from beating Sasuke, but I need to keep my act together. Damn it, I can't lose here. Sasuke angrily thought before a new thought occurred to him, of course. Sakura woke up just in time to see Sasuke create a clone and charge right towards a now surprised Beetleman. What happened? Sakura asked as she tried to get up, but Hinata gently held her down. You and Kiba lost your matches against Beetleman, and now Sasuke is fighting him. Hinata answered as said armored warrior was taking hits that the real Sasuke was giving him. I thought we weren't going to use any of this stuff. Beetleman said as he got some distance from the two Sasukes, I didn't use any of that during the last two fights. You only agreed to using Jutsu against Sakura, not me. Sasuke said as his clone rushed in for the attack. Beetleman quickly punched the clone as it vanished before seeing the real Sasuke taking in a deep breath. Fire style. Fireball Jutsu. Sasuke called out as he launched a large fireball toward the armored warrior. Yes, I have no choice, Beetleman said as lightning formed around his fist before the armored warrior pulled it back. Thunder fist. Everyone watched as the two attacks collided in an explosive force that had covered Beetleman as he was in the center. Beetleman. Kakashi and Shino said, both of them with widened eyes. Sasuke smirked in victory until the flames died down to reveal Beetleman, with his armor covered in burn marks, his gloved hand having more than the rest of him. How are you still standing? Sasuke demanded with anger in his eyes as he put his all into the attack. I use my own power to cancel out your attack, Beetleman answered as he could feel the heat in his hands, but I didn't get out unscathed as my hand had to take most of it. I guess I shouldn't hold back anymore. Before either combatant could act, another fireball was launched into the ground between them, drawing everyone's attention away from the fight. Sorry, said a new voice as everyone looked to see a young man in red armor walking towards them from the forest, but Beetleman's coming with me. Agunamon, Beetleman said in pure shock, what are you doing here? Keeping an eye on you since we are forbidden to use our powers against them, since this was supposed to be just hand-to-hand combat. Agunamon said as he approached Beetleman, you need to understand how your reckless actions could slow us down in the search for our clan. Now let's go. You're not going anywhere. Sasuke said as he glared at the two warriors, this fight isn't over. With blinding speed, Agunamon suddenly appeared behind the Uchiha and gave him a quick chop to the neck, knocking him out. I apologize for that and for Beetleman, Agunamon said as he handed Sasuke over to Kakashi and Naruto, but we should go back to our missions before any trouble stirs up. How do we know you're not with Gato? Kurenai asked as she looked at the two armored warriors. You can trust us as if we were enemies, our friends would have attacked you during the spars. Agunamon answered as he grabbed Beetleman's shoulder, now if you will pardon us, I need to have a word with Beetleman. Kurenai stared at Agunamon before picking up Kiba and Akamaru and led the genin away towards Tezuna's house, while Agunamon and Beetleman went the opposite direction. The two armored warriors continued walking until Agunamon stopped and turned to face Beetleman. POW, only to get a fist into the face by said warrior, knocking him into a nearby tree. Alright, Beetleman said as he generated electricity into his uninjured fist, who are you really as I know you can't be Agunamon. Now tell me before I decide to reset your heart. Very well, said Agunamon before a plume of smoke revealed that he was really Kakashi, now you see me. How do I know you're the real Kakashi? Beetleman asked as he still held his electrified fist. You be Kakashi answered as a small gasp escaped the android Digimon's mouth, I know you are not the demon fox that attacked our home Naruto. A bright flash shone as Beetleman had turned back into Naruto as the blonde stumbled onto a knee, holding his still injured hand. How Naruto asked as he took in a few breaths, how did you know that was me? I hid behind a tree in order to watch Agunamon before I saw him change into you. Kakashi answered as he helped his student onto his feet, when did you get this power and why did you keep it a secret? Naruto didn't answer as he looked at the Jonin with a sharp glare. Naruto, Kakashi said as his voice had a firm stance of authority, answer my question. Do I have to make you? Naruto saw his sensei hold his hand to his hit IA to show that he was going to use his Sharingan to get the answers he needed. You do that, Naruto said as he took a stance of his own, and you'll have to deal with burning Greymon and risk everyone's lives. You don't have a lot of chakra left, Kakashi said as he held his grip, so how will you hold up to your threat? I just need to call him out. Naruto said, hoping that Kakashi would buy into the bluff as the legendary warriors wouldn't let him willingly bring out the beast spirit's power just yet. Kakashi looked at his student as a thought entered his mind. Have I really pushed him this far? The Jonin thought as he remembered Minato's disappointed look in his dream. Kakashi let out a sigh as he let go of his hit I-8 and said, "Alright Naruto, I'm not going to make you tell me any more about your power, but I still would like to know why you're keeping this a secret from your team." The blonde was silent until he said, "Team? What team? You never really taught us much as you dote all of your time on Sasuke while leaving me on my own." Shino had even told me all the stuff that Kurenai-sensei had taught him and his team. When I was working on the tree climbing exercise, Shino used his beetles to drain some of my chakra to help me get a better grip on control. "And what have you done, hot Aki-san?" Kakashi had a cringe at how his student had addressed him as he then said, "I know I haven't taught you much, and your father would be ashamed and disappointed in me." You, Naruto asked as he relaxed his stance a bit. "Knew my father?" Kakashi nodded as he said, "He was my sensei when I was your age, and if he saw how I haven't been training you he would be furious with me as he would forever haunt me." Seeing the bit of remorse in his sensei's eye, Naruto got out of his stance and said, "I didn't tell you as it's mostly because of what I said earlier, and I wasn't sure if I could trust you enough as this needed to be a secret for the moment." Kakashi nodded as who knows what could happen if this kind of power was leaked out. Naruto the Jonin said as he pulled out a scroll and unrolled it to reveal a lone kanji, "Since you are entrusting me with this secret, I think it's only fair that you learn a secret of mine." Naruto watched as a plume of smoke erupted from the scroll to reveal a familiar mask. "Inu?" Naruto said in shock as he looked at Kakashi, as said ninja placed the mask on his face. "You're Inu?" Kakashi nodded and said, "Yes Naruto, it is me Inu." The sudden rush of information and shock had caused Naruto to give into his fatigue and pass out before Kakashi had caught him. "I really have a lot more on my hands than I had thought," Kakashi said as he let out a sigh, knowing that he would need to fix the bridge between him and the young boy he saw as a little brother. "I just need to take things one step at a time." Tazuna's house. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to find that he was back at Tazuna's house, as the last thing he remembered was Kakashi revealing that he was Inu. "Kakashi-sensei must have brought me back," Naruto thought as he slowly sat up and saw that his hand was bandaged. "I sense that your mind is troubled." Ancient Sphinxman said from inside the blonde's mind, "Is it because you learned that your negligent teacher was once one of the Anbu that protected you when you were younger, or that he now knows of your power and may reveal it after the mission?" Naruto thought as he looked at the situation and saw that night had fallen. "Think it's because Inu was always so nice to me and Kakashi had never really given me any attention, even if it was to put me down during training. I can sense that Kakashi does indeed regret his actions as a sensei, since you are the son of his sensei." Ancient Sphinxman said as the blonde looked at the moon from the window, "But do not close your heart off to him, as that would only cause the darkness in your heart to begin festering into something more sinister. The power of darkness is one that is not to be taken lightly, beast form or not." "Could you tell me more about the power of darkness, Ancient Sphinxman?" Naruto asked as he stared at the moon. "I shall." The legendary warrior of darkness said as he stared at the moon as well. "The element of darkness is commonly a misunderstood element, as it has been connected to evil many times in the past due to those who use the power of darkness for their own gain. However, it is not so. Both darkness and light must coexist together, as without light, darkness cannot be formed, and without darkness, light cannot shine through." "How is that?" Naruto asked as he took a glance at the other guy's sleeping forms. "You see Naruto," Ancient Sphinxman began, "both light and darkness represent two different ideas that actually help each other in the long run. Darkness is not an evil element as it is an extension of the soul for you to learn how to face strife. At times, it is better to avoid the shadows altogether and embrace the light, but there are times where darkness can be welcoming when the light's warmth is not enough. But you must take caution though, as darkness can also lead you to destruction, and by facing your fears and your personal demons, will you be able to handle the power that the element brings? So I must embrace darkness while keeping it at arm's length?" Naruto asked as he got a small chuckle from the legendary warrior. "If you look at it that way, then yes." Ancient Sphinxman said through his chuckle. "Now, you should get some rest so that you can be ready for what's to come." "Alright," Naruto said as sleep was slowly overcoming him. "Good night, Gigi." The legendary warrior smiled as it felt welcoming for the blonde to look up to him like that as he said, "Good night, my grandson." Forest. A few of days had passed as Team 7 and 8 had trained in preparations for when Zabuza would attack with Kakashi, increasing his team's regimen and team dynamics by pairing each of his students with Kurenai's students. Kakashi's team was able to get to the top of the trees through effort and help, since Kakashi had Shino use his Kakechu beetles to absorb the team's chakra to help them learn proper control, since the Aburami clan's beetles can absorb chakra. The past couple of days were also odd for Naruto, as Sakura had complimented the blonde and even helped him during training. She had also changed the bandages on his hand when they needed to be and applied some of the burn ointment Hinata had packed. Naruto was still shocked about what Sakura had done afterwards. Flashback. Azuna's house. Naruto had looked at his hand and carefully flexed it after Sakura had changed the bandages. "It shouldn't be too long until my hands healed," Naruto thought as he didn't see Sakura looking at him, no more than a few hours at most. Hey Naruto, Sakura said, grabbing the blonde's attention. What is it, Sakura? Naruto asked, noticing how his teammate was looking away. It was silent until the Rosette let out a small sigh and looked at Naruto. Sakura began as she tried to gather her courage. I want to apologize for everything. What do you mean? Naruto asked as he carefully placed a hand on Sakura's forehead. Are you alright? Sakura moved her teammate's hand off of her forehead as she said, I'm alright Naruto, it's just after Randaman helped us with Zabuza, I had asked her if she knew Kazuma, and I had also asked about you. I told her that I was worried about my friend, but she asked me if I really did care, since Kazuma must told her what I had said about you. I told her that I didn't want to lose another friend, but Randaman had told me that you don't see me as a friend like you used to, and how I would hurt you, instead of just talking to you. She probably had sent Beetleman knowing that I did call her a hag and didn't want to really hurt us because of a grudge. I then had a dream a few days ago, Sakura continued as she swallowed down a bit of fear that had gathered in her throat. I dreamed that Sasuke had become Hokage and I was married to him. It was great until I saw you making out with both Kazuma and Randaman. Somehow that sounds weird, Naruto thought with hidden confusion, although I can see that if both of them weren't me. Sakura began to tremble as she said, you three then vanished as I soon found myself in a dark hallway with a loud banging sound echoing through the place. I ran through the darkness until I hit a door where the sound was coming from. I went to open the door and when I grabbed the handle the door was ripped open as a bunch of razor-sharp teeth came straight towards me. Then what happened? Naruto asked with concern for his teammate. I woke up and screamed. Sakura said as the memory of nearly getting bitten by those teeth. I must have woken everyone up as Kurenai-sensei was ready to fight. I couldn't tell her about my dream, but even so, she concluded that it had to involve what Randaman had said to me. The point that I'm trying to get Sakura began before wrapping her arms around Naruto, letting out a few tears and sobs. I'm so sorry about how I treated you. Sob Kakashi-sensei told us about the miserable life you had and sob and I treated you so badly for just wanting some love. I was so rotten to you for hitting you and belittling you for the most dumbest of reasons. Sob, could you ever forgive me? I don't want to lose you as a friend. Naruto didn't know what to do as Sakura had never done anything like this to him. On one hand, Sakura was hugging him and being nice to him, but on the other hand, Sakura had always hit him for just trying to talk to her, belittling him for not being as great as Sasuke, and even calling him dead weight. Forgive her? Ancient Greyman said as his voice echoed in Naruto's mind, can you hear and sense the sorrow from her actions right now? I was honestly unsure when she was being nice to me and helping me, Naruto admitted to the legendary warrior of fire, but now it makes sense, but should I really forgive her that easily? Not necessarily. Ancient Sphinxman said as Sakura was still crying into the blonde's shoulder, while she knew her actions were not right, she still should have learned more about you just by talking to you. Let her know about what her actions had done between you and her, but do not completely forgive her as she needs to earn back your trust. Naruto thought for a moment about what to do as this could change a lot depending on what he chooses. Sakura was about to let go when she felt arms being wrapped around her and saw that Naruto was hugging her. Sakura, Naruto began with an even tone, I want you to know that while I am going to forgive you for some of the things you have done to me, you need to work really hard if I can consider having you as a friend again. You've hurt me so many times, and even though I did deserve a few of those punches you had given me, I couldn't let them go as all of it could have been avoided if you and Sasuke had given me the time to let the both of you learn more about me. The two let go of each other as Sakura saw her serious tone on Naruto's face. Seeing the shocked look on the Rosette's face, Naruto then said, well, I am giving you this second chance. I need you to remember that all actions have consequences, both good and bad, and they can be pretty drastic. I still care about you, Sakura, but I need you to show me that you and I can be friends. Please don't mess this up because I really don't want to lose any of my friends at all. Sakura smiled as she wiped the tears off of her face, knowing that she was given a very rare and powerful gift. A second chance. Flashback end. Forest. Naruto chuckled as he was resting after his spar with Kiba and Sasuke with Hinata as his partner. I may be taking a chance and it could take a while, Naruto thought as he took a sip of water from his canteen, but I really do hope that Sakura can still be my friend. Naruto then began to think back to yesterday when he was training with his powers. He could use basic jutsus and the shadow clone jutsu with his spirit forms, even though using jutsus would burn more chakra and shorten his time limit, but the blonde was still having trouble using chakra as Agunamon, while he didn't have much difficulties as either Kazuma, Randaman, or Beetleman. I was able to increase the time limit thanks to Shino and Sakura, Naruto thought with slight victory in his mind, now if only if I could figure out what's wrong with Agunamon. Alright, break time's over. Kakashi said as he looked at his team, Team 7 is to stay here with me, while Team 8 shall go and help Tazuna and his family. After Kurenai's team left, the Cycloptic Jonin took out 3 scrolls and handed each one to his students. I know we don't have a lot of time left, Kakashi said as he stood before his students, but I'm giving you a jutsu for you to learn in preparations for what could happen. Inside you will find information on a jutsu that I want you to learn as best as you can. Go ahead and open them and read what jutsu you have. The three genin opened their scrolls and read what jutsu they have. Earth Style. Headhunter Jutsu. Sakura said as she remembered that jutsu being used on Sasuke and Naruto during training sessions. Wind Style. Great Breakthrough Jutsu. Naruto said as he looked a bit at the writing in his scroll. Fire Style. Ash Clone Jutsu. Sasuke said with a slight scowl at getting a clone jutsu. The jutsus I had given you should help you with not just this mission, but any future missions or battles you will go through. Kakashi began as he motioned for his students to back away as he was going to demonstrate the jutsus given. I'll start off with Naruto's jutsu. Kakashi said as he brought his hands together. Great Breakthrough is a strong C-rank jutsu that creates a gust of wind that varies on how much power is put into the jutsu and who uses it. Toriushi Inumi. The Jonin said as he went through the seals. Wind Style. Great Breakthrough Jutsu. Kakashi threw his palm towards a nearby tree as a gust of wind was launched before hitting the tree with a powerful slam. Whoa, Naruto said as he and his teammates stared in awe at the demonstration. You can use this jutsu to either gain distance from your opponent, do some damage, or even ambush the target. Kakashi said as he brought his hands together again. Now for Sasuke's jutsu. Oriyuma Hitsuji Tora. The Jonin called out as he took in a breath. Fire Style. Ash Clone Jutsu. Kakashi let out his breath as a cloud of ash flew from his mask before forming into him. The Ash Clone is a very useful jutsu as you can use it to blind your opponents through converting chakra into fire and ash. Kakashi said as his Ash Clone crumbled away before being replaced by another Ash Clone. You can even use ashes that are around you, but that is only if there are ashes present, such as a campfire or even a burning building. Now for one of my favorite jutsus. Mitetsu Inumi. Kakashi said as he vanished. Earth Style. Headhunter Jutsu. The Ash Clone was soon pulled into the ground with only his head out as the real Kakashi appeared out of the ground nearby. This jutsu allows you to trap your opponents into the earth as you drag them from underneath. Kakashi said as he dusted himself off while the Ash Clone crumbled away. This allows you to interrogate or attack your opponent as they cannot defend themselves if they're trapped like this. I want you to study the contents of the scroll I had given you and practice the seals for them. If you need help, you can ask either me or your teammates. Naruto and Sakura went to different spots and studied their scrolls in order to understand the jutsu better, while Sasuke stood before Kakashi with a scowl on his face. This would be perfect for Kazumi as she's the spirit of wind, Naruto thought as he looked over the scroll before practicing the seals. Might go great with Tempest Twist. Why do I get a stupid clone jutsu while they get better jutsus? Sasuke demanded as he threw the scroll down. Listen Sasuke, Kakashi began as he looked at Uchiha. When it comes down to a contest, a clone jutsu can be the most powerful and the most resourceful of jutsus. In fact, even I had to use a few clone jutsus to gain the advantage over my opponents, just like with my fight against Zabuza. But what about that girl, Ranamon? Sasuke asked as he remembered the water fairy. I didn't see her use a clone jutsu, but instead used other two jutsus. She probably didn't use a clone jutsu because she either didn't need to, Kakashi explained, or she was trying to reserve her chakra. For her one jutsu to drain Zabuza of his energy through water must have taken a lot of chakra to overpower water that has been enhanced by Jonin level chakra. So she could be as powerful as a Kage. Sasuke asked as the hair on the back of his head bristled in fury. I can't say for sure as only a sensor type ninja could really tell you about how strong Ranamon, or any of her friends for that matter, are. Kakashi answered honestly while thinking about just how powerful Naruto could be with any of those forms or with Burning Greymon. They could be Kage level, or they could even be at a really high Jonin level, we wouldn't really know. So don't worry about it as they are our allies, and don't think we've forgotten what you did during your match with Beetleman. Sasuke growled as Kakashi then said, I believe a suitable punishment would be for you to do a set of 50 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, punches, kicks on both left and right hands and feet, pull-ups, and, because I'm feeling a bit lenient at the moment, laps on the tree walking exercise. What? Sasuke yelled out in fury. Be glad that I'm going to give you a short break after each set and after an hour of studying your new jutsu. Kakashi said with authority in his voice before raising his visible eyebrow, or would you rather those sets now and save your new jutsu for after your punishment? Letting out an angered growl, Sasuke moved to a different part of the forest and sat down as he read the contents of the scroll. Remember, Kakashi called out to Sasuke, you only get 1 hour of studying. In a different part of the forest, Sakura was looking over the jutsu she was given and was a little off-put with having to travel through dirt before she remembered about what Beetleman had said during her match with him. I know just enough to get by, Sakura said to herself as she looked back at how her two teammates performed in the past. Sasuke possesses both brains and skills, as he can perform such an advanced jutsu, an elemental jutsu for that matter, and Naruto, while he can be a bit reckless and brainless at times, is surprising, and with him being able to create so many solid clones, while not even being able to create a normal clone. The sheer number of them he used along with what he and Sasuke had done with our fight against Zabuza. Who would have thought Naruto, the same class clown who loved pranking more than being a ninja, could be like that? Realization soon dawned on the Rosette. Just who is Naruto? Was the blonde really just as smart or even smarter than Sasuke or Shikamaru? Was Naruto hiding his true power in favor of entertainment? Could the Naruto that everyone sees be a fake, while the real Naruto be some sort of maniac or even? What am I thinking? Sakura said as she shook her head. This is Naruto Uzumaki you're thinking about, the very same Naruto who painted the Hokage monument in broad daylight. Rolling up her scroll, Sakura stood up and walked through the forest as she said, maybe I should check up on him. You're really overthinking this. Inner Sakura spoke as she had looked at some of the ideas inside the Rosette's skull. I mean, Naruto having a few screws loose, yeah I can believe that, but him secretly being an Anbu? Even Naruto would say that's completely far-fetched. I still need to check up on him, Sakura thought as she soon saw a flash of light in a different area of the forest and began running towards the source. There she found Agunamon standing as he was surrounded by trees that were missing some bark. Sakura quickly hid behind a nearby bush and watched the armored warrior sit down in a meditation pose with his hands in a seal. Let's see if I can do this. Agunamon said as he closed his eyes and let out a small breath. What is he doing? Sakura thought as she remained still as to not alert the warrior from his meditations. Time had passed as nothing had happened until Agunamon grabbed his head in pain and began to roll around on the ground. Agunamon. Sakura called out as she rushed out of the bush and towards the downed warrior until she felt a powerful killing intent within the air, freezing her where she stood. Agunamon's eyes opened to reveal that they were glowing red, and when his mouth opened, his teeth were razor sharp. You seriously thought that someone like you could try to tap into my power? Agunamon said with a low voice that was possessed by a growl. You don't even have a splinter's chance in the deepest parts of hell if I could let the likes of you use this power. Once I take control and erase you, I will destroy all who shall stand in my way. Sakura stood in fear as she watched the armored warrior writhe in pain until the killing intent began to shift uncontrollably. No, Agunamon said with his voice sounding normal, I won't let you take control. Give it up. Agunamon said with a low growl in his voice, you never even stood a chance as your natural element keeps you from doing so. Sakura watched in both fear and confusion as the armored warrior was arguing with himself while he was unaware of the ever-shifting killing intent in the air. I have to do something. Sakura thought as Agunamon let out a pained roar, but what? Agunamon then got to his feet, but he was still holding his head in his hands that were now sharp tri-clawed talons. The warrior screamed out as flames were bursting out from under his armor while a long red tail grew from behind him. Sakura then found her courage as she tightened her fists and charged straight for Agunamon. The Rosette jumped and rolled to the side as she avoided the wildly swing tail, while bright orange wings erupted from Agunamon's back. Once I rip control over this body out of your pathetic hands, Agunamon said with his possessed voice, I'll devour this little heroine first before going for your village and slaughter everyone in it. No. I won't let you. Agunamon then said with his normal voice before he saw Sakura nearby, Sakura run. Get out of here. I'm not going to run away. Sakura said as she stood her ground, I'm not going to stand by while I'm the only who can help you. Now I need you to hold still. Agunamon's eyes were now glowing red, signaling that whatever he was fighting for mental dominance returned. Sakura quickly made a couple clones that charged towards the warrior before charging herself. Agunamon slashed at one of the clones before a plume of smoke revealed it to be a destroyed log. Another Sakura jumped on the winged warrior's back and held her grip while Agunamon tried to use sheer might to toss her off. Seeing how Sakura was holding on, the warrior used his new wings to leap high into the air before slamming his back onto the ground with an earth-shattering slam, sandwiching the Rosette between him and the ground. The possessed warrior then looked to see yet another Sakura rush towards him with a kunai at the ready. Agunamon quickly got to his feet and stabbed the Rosette clear through with his clawed hand before lifting her up in the air. Sakura looked at the armored warrior before smirking as she exploding into a plume of smoke that revealed her to be a log. Cross shatter, earth style, Sakura said as she was underground, headhunter jutsu. After a quick substitution jutsu, Sakura was now standing over the possessed Agunamon as she was breathing heavily while the warrior was trying to free himself from the ground. Sakura, said Kakashi as he, Sasuke, and teammate rushed towards said girl. Hey, is that Agunamon? Kiba asked as he saw said warrior thrashing around. What's wrong with him? My guess is that he was trying to tap into Burning Grayman's power. Kakashi said while Agunamon was finally able to bust out of the ground as he was now nearly 3 times Kakashi's size and his armor was a shade of blood red. It must be trying to control Agunamon for dominance. Naruto to the rescue. Roared a voice as an army of Narutos rushed towards the possessed Agunamon and tackled him into a massive dog pile. I'm gonna rip you pathetic little beetles off and burn you into nothing but ashes. Agunamon roared as he swiped at the Narutos, causing them to vanish in plumes of smoke. Seeing the sheer number of Narutos on him, the possessed warrior then took to the sky and flew off in a different direction while tossing some of the Narutos off plummeting to their doom. Agunamon then suddenly fell down towards the ground along with a lone Naruto, both of them vanishing in the trees as a bright light was briefly seen. Naruto. Everyone called out as they rushed towards where the two had crashed, but when they had arrived, there was a small indent in the ground with an unconscious Naruto in the middle. Kurenai rushed and placed her fingers on the blonde's wrist before letting out a sigh of relief as she said, he's just unconscious, but he'll live. Where's Agunamon? Sasuke asked as he looked around, expecting said warrior to jump out and attack them. A small beetle flew from Naruto's jacket and landed on Shino's finger as the Aburami looked at it. It appears that one of the beetles I had implanted on Naruto saw that Agunamon was able to regain control of his body thanks to Sakura's and Naruto-san's efforts. Shino stoically said as the small beetle retreated into his jacket, Agunamon would have given us his thanks for helping him, but he desperately needed his rest as it took a lot of energy to wrestle control away from Burning Greymon. Kiba and Shino lifted the unconscious Naruto as everyone left the area and headed towards Tazuna's home. Kurenai remained silent as she had seen past Shino's ruse of using a transformation jutsu on his beetles, disguising each of them as Naruto, and having them fight Agunamon. She had also noted that Shino was also just as worried, if not even more worried than Kakashi was when Beetlemon was hit by Sasuke's fireball jutsu. Even though the Aburami clan can be as stoic as Yu-Gas made of stone, a 12-year-old child is still readable to the game jutsu mistress. I'll figure out what's going on here, Kurenai thought to herself as Sakura was recounting everything that had happened to Kakashi, and I'm willing to bet that Naruto and Kakashi are in on this secret as well. Mindscape. Naruto was on the floor of his mindscape before opening his eyes and slowly pushing himself up. Naruto asked as he was sitting on the floor in a slight haze, what happened? Burning Greymon tried to take control when you had approached him. Ancient Greymon said as the other legendary warriors had surrounded the blonde ninja, he must have used the moment you contacted him to try to possess you. What were you thinking? Ancient Kazumon cried as she grabbed Naruto, you're not yet ready to face a beast spirit. Sorry, Naruto said as he sadly looked away as he couldn't take Ancient Kazumon's eyes shining with tears. The legendary warrior of wind tightly hugged Naruto as the blonde then returned the hug. We should consider ourselves lucky that Shino was around with his chakra-eating beetles, Ancient Beetlemon said as he crossed his arms, or else everyone could have been destroyed. Ancient Greymon lowered his head to Naruto's level and said, do you now understand why the beast spirits are out of your hands? I thought I could just talk to him, Naruto said as he let go of Ancient Kazumon and faced the giant dragon. Guess I badly failed, huh? True, you did not succeed with what you had planned, the legendary warrior of fire said with a tone of wisdom and understanding, but do not look at this as a complete failure. You now had a taste of the beast spirit's raw power and now possess the knowledge and willpower to try and better yourself should you try and tap into the beast spirit's power again. I am also to blame for risking the lives of your comrades, as I should have anticipated just how much Burning Greymon would fight for control. I only allowed that to happen so that you can understand just how powerful any beast spirit could be. We are still going to make sure that we know you are ready to try and converse with the beast spirit. Ancient Megatheriamon said as he looked at the blonde, we do not want a repeat of what had happened yesterday. Yesterday? Naruto asked the Ram in confusion, how can that be? You burned off a lot more chakra than before, Ancient Wisemon began as the blonde looked at him now, meaning that you were using even more chakra to just wrestle Burning Greymon for control. Then add the Kakachu beetle Shino had used on you had also drained more chakra from you, leaving you with barely a sliver of chakra left. Your Uzumaki body should allow you to recover enough chakra for when Zabuza is scheduled to attack, Ancient Garurumon said, as a soothing sensation was soon over the blonde, but for now, rest as you will need whatever strength you shall gain. Naruto smiled as Ancient Kazumon hugged him lovingly while she gently rocked him back and forth as fatigue suddenly took its toll on him. Good night, Naruto sleepily said as he looked at the legendary warrior of wind with a small smile, Mama. He called me Mama. Ancient Kazumon thought with surprise as the blonde then vanished into a dream, he called me Mama. The bird woman remembered how Ancient Sphinxman told her and the others how Naruto had called him Jiji, and she and Ancient Mermaidman were happy for the ever-stoic cat. Even though it hasn't been real long since they all had met the blonde, the legendary warriors saw Naruto as a member of their little family, and with Naruto calling her an Ancient Sphinxman Mama and Jiji, it showed just how their bond had evolved. Good night, Ancient Kazumon whispered to herself with a smile under her mask, my little child. Dream world. Sasuke watched helplessly as a young man with a cold and stoic face stood over the Uchiha's parents with a bloodied sword. What made this man more intimidating were the two Sharingan eyes that ominously lit up his stone face. Your hatred is still as weak as ever. The man calmly said, sending a chill down Sasuke's spine. How do you ever hope to kill me with such weak hate? I'll show just how strong I am. Sasuke roared out as he rushed towards the man, but was stopped as the man grabbed the Uchiha by his neck and lifted him into the cold night air. No. Sasuke thought in fear as he remembers what happens next in this haunting dream, not again. Before whatever the man had planned, a small hand had pierced his chest as behind him was a small boy with golden blonde hair and 10 wings, 2 of them resting on the side of his head, and light purple tattoos wearing a white robe. You shall never haunt this boy again. The boy said with a pure voice as the man was soon atomized in a bright light. Sasuke fell to the ground before seeing the young boy hold out a hand in a kind gesture. Who are you? Sasuke asked as he let the boy help him to his feet. I don't remember seeing you around the village. I am just a kindred spirit, Sasuke Uchiha, the boy said with a small friendly smile, but you may call me Rebenji. Rebenji then pulled out a small orb from his robe and said, I am here to give you a gift from the one you call Kami. When the time is right, it shall awaken for you and protect you while giving you the power to face any foe. Even him? Sasuke asked as he still wanted to kill that man. Yes, Rebenji said as his pale blue eyes shone through the darkness of the surrounding night, even him your own brother. Sasuke delicately took the orb before Rebenji helped him push it inside his chest as a burning rush enveloped the Uchiha's body. I wish that I could stay and help you, Rebenji said as he slowly began to fade, but I must get back to my world, but do not worry. We shall meet again in the future. Sasuke let out a scream of pain after Rebenji had completely vanished from his sights before darkness soon overwhelmed him. Then dream, Izuna's house. Sasuke choked out as he woke up from his dream to see that he was still in the guy's room, with Kakashi and Shino resting near Naruto. It had been a whole day since their encounter with Agunamon and Naruto was out like a light after facing the possessed warrior. What bothered Sasuke about that day was that Naruto could create a legion of solid clones and still have energy left to spare, but Naruto was out for a whole day due to chakra exhaustion. Things didn't add up. Thinking on that dream, Sasuke thought about what he had witnessed, and the burning feeling in his chest was actually still there. Was it a dream? The Uchiha asked himself as he placed a hand over his chest where that orb of light was placed inside of him. It couldn't be, could it? Deciding to wait until tomorrow to figure out the answers, Sasuke had gone back to sleep as he needed to become stronger so he could kill that man Itachi Uchiha, his own brother. Forest teammate were preparing for when Zabuza would return tomorrow, and they had to be ready if the swordsman did return. However, Hinata. Kurenai said as she got her students' attention, I'm going to have a talk with Shino, but I want the both. I mean the 3 of you to keep training. Kurenai said after correcting herself as she and Shino went to a different part of the forest. Wonder what's going on? Kiba asked aloud as both teacher and student vanished into the trees. I don't know. Hinata answered with a worried look, do you think it involves Naruto-kun? He still hasn't woken up yet. I know what you mean. Kiba said as he crossed his arms in thought, I've always known the knucklehead to have enough energy to run around the entire village 100 times and still have energy to spare. So when are you gonna tell him? Seeing the smirk on her teammate's face, Hinata blushed as she stuttered out, I don't know. I really couldn't. Oh come on Hinata, Kiba said as he held his arms out, now that Naruto isn't going after Sakura, you can get him to notice ya. You can even ask Kakashi to help bathe Naruto while he recovers, if you know what I mean. Hinata's face turned completely red before the young girl passed out from the many perverted thoughts running through her head as her nose began to bleed. Ah crap, Kiba said as he face-palmed at his teammate's reaction, I guess I shouldn't have pushed it. A small growl was heard from Akamaru as gave his human partner a deadpan look towards the statement. With Kurenai and Shino, the woman stood before the Aburami with a questioning look on her face. What is it that you wish to talk to me about, Kurenai-sensei? Shino asked stoically as he looked at his teacher, was it about how I had threatened Sakura some time ago? No. Kurenai said as she placed her hands on her hips, this is about Agunamon and what had happened that day. As Beetleman had told us, Shino began calmly, he and the rest of their friends are looking for their lost clan, and they believe that Naruto-san could help lead them to their clan. I knew that those Naruto clones were your own beetles under transformation. Kurenai said as her ruby eyes shone in the light with an intimidating appeal, I've been highly trained in game jutsu, and I can see the slightest detail out of place. Also, if Agunamon did leave like how your beetles have told you, there would be evidence of his footprints or a trail that would lead us to him. There were none at all. Kurenai saw Shino's shoulders rise up a bit and knew that she had found something as she then asked, so what is all this about and why does it involve Naruto? Shino was silent for a little while until he said, I do not wish to share any of my friend's secrets. But what if this could jeopardize the mission? Kurenai countered as she hardened her eyes. With what happened with Agunamon and the amount of killing intent that he had, what if it happens again and he goes completely berserk? You're risking everyone's lives, Shino. Shino's silence had then became unnatural as Kurenai then closed her eyes and sighed in reluctance. Alright, the woman said as she opened her now softened eyes, I'm not going to push any further, but if Agunamon should appear and somehow jeopardizes everyone's lives, then we will talk about this. Understood, sensei. Shino said before watching Kurenai leave the area towards his teammates. The Aburami's head then slightly fell as he then said, that was too close. But I know she will want to talk to me again should anything like Agunamon nearly going wild happen again. I do not wish to betray Naruto-san's trust, but I may have no choice as Kurenai-sensei brings up strong and valid points. We are risking the lives of our client, innocent lives, and the lives of our friends. Bringing a hand to face level, Shino looked at the beetles crawling on him as he asked, what should I do? I know that Naruto values trust and friendship much higher than anything else, and I respect him for holding the QB at bay along with Great Beetle-sama, but I also know that should Burning Greymon, or any of the other beast spirit that Naruto-san should possess and cannot control, make their appearance. After the beetles retreated back into Shino's jacket, the young Aburami looked towards the sky and said, please wake up soon, Naruto-san. I am unsure of what I should do. Azuna's house. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and after adjusting them to the light, the blonde saw that he was alone. Where is everybody? Naruto asked himself until he heard voices outside and took a look to see two thugs standing at the docks nearby, with one of them holding Tsunami, while the other one getting ready to throw Inari into the water. But Inari, he struggled as he tried to get himself free and save his mother, but the thug had too tight of a grip to let him escape. Hope you know how to swim. The thug said until a kunai flew by him. Beat this you bastards. Naruto called out as he had a few shadow clones with him. Inari was dropped onto the docks and was able to crawl to where the other thug had placed his mother before watching Naruto fight the two thugs. The fight ended pretty quickly as Naruto had used shadow clones disguised as shuriken to strike both of them with powerful haymakers to the top of their heads, knocking them out quickly. Well, that was weak. Naruto commented as his clones disarmed the thugs and tied them together before the original looked at Inari and Tsunami who was slowly regaining consciousness. You guys okay? Yes thanks. Tsunami weakly said as she rubbed the cobwebs out of her head. You were so awesome. Inari cheered as he hugged Naruto, thank you so much. Naruto smiled brightly as he said, no problem. It's what I do. Inari let go of the blonde and guiltily said, I'm really sorry about what I had said to you when you first arrived here. Your sensei had told me a bit about your life and… Naruto gently placed a hand on the young boy's shoulder and said, don't worry about it. My personal secret of how I face the hardships of my life is that I look at all of the positives and keep on smiling to keep up my spirits. True that I can't smile all the time, but I remind myself about all of the good instead of the bad. I also look to my friends if I need any help from them so I'm never alone. You should do the same as I'm sure there's someone in your life that you have always looked up to. Inari smiled as he thought of the man that he had once thought of as a father and how Kaiza had done so much for him. Inari didn't even know why he fell into that brooding attitude after Kaiza was killed after looking at the negative for so long, but he knew that it wouldn't be right for Inari to become so negative when he had to think of all the good times. Thank you Naruto, Inari thought as he could almost see Kaiza and Naruto's smile, thank you so much. Hey Tsunami, Naruto asked with a stern face, where's the others that were with me? They're with my father at his bridge. Tsunami answered as she pointed to where bridge would be, it's not far from here, so it shouldn't take too long for you to get there. Thanks. Naruto said as he turned around, listen I'm not sure if things would go as planned, but your freedom from Geto isn't going to just fall from the sky like a storybook. No. You need to act. Sure Geto may be powerful, but he doesn't have the drive to stay strong forever. So if you want your freedom you better make sure your drive is strong enough to face down a dragon and never back down. See ya on the flip side. And just like that, Naruto ran off towards where Tsunami had pointed, while both mother and child watch him vanish into the distance. Mom Inari said as his voice grabbed his mother's attention. Tsunami looked to find the same stern look that her son had always had, but instead of angst like the many times she had saw that look, this had something new in his eyes. Burning resolve. Let's go help Naruto. Road. Naruto ran down the road as fast as he could, since today was the day that Zabuza would attack and he needed to get there and fast. Now how should I get to the bridge? Naruto asked himself as the trees flew by him. He could take the shortest route by changing into Randoman and swimming directly towards the bridge and give Zabuza another surprise. The only problem that he saw would be that since Zabuza had fought Randoman before, the assassin knew about Randoman's powers. There also wouldn't be a lot of water on the bridge unless Zabuza would fight on water again. Would Naruto take a chance in that? Another short route would be for Naruto to change into Kazuma and fly towards the bridge, which would also allow him to surprise Zabuza. The problem with that would be if Zabuza used that hidden mist jutsu, and the mist was pretty thick with hardly any visibility. I'm also sure that would be a good way to counter your sensei's Sharingan. Ancient Wisdomon spoke up from inside Naruto's mind. So that only leaves me Beetleman and Agunamon. Naruto thought before realizing that Beetleman would also be similar to the situation with Kazumon. The ability of flight, but no clear sight. Yes, I have no choice. Naruto said as he formed a seal, Spirit Fusion. Fire. The bright light shone as Naruto was now Agunamon and was able to increase his pace thanks to having longer legs and no real bulky armor. Hang on guys. Agunamon said as he rushed towards the bridge, I'll be there just shortly. Bridge. Sakura and Kiba and Akamaru were protecting Tazuna, while Kakashi, now fully recuperated, and Kurenai were facing Zabuza with Sasuke, Hinata, and Shino facing off against that hunter ninja, as Kakashi was right about him being an accomplice. How are things going, Kiba? Sakura asked as she had a kunai ready for a possible attack on Tazuna. Not good. Kiba answered as he and Akamaru tried to look through the fog, can't even see past our noses, and both sides are in trouble as I smell blood at both fights. Wait a minute. The Inyazuka said as his nose twitched towards where the fight with the hunter ninja was, is that Naruto? Naruto's here, Sakura said with hope at hearing her final teammate was able to make it. Yeah, but Kiba said as took a close look at the scent, it also seems like he brought the Agunamon guy with him. The Agunamon's with Naruto. Sakura thought in surprise, Naruto must have ran into them, but why just Agunamon as the others could help as well? The Agunamon had just stepped into the thick fog-like mist and tried to look for his friends. Damn it. Naruto thought as he couldn't even see anything, I need to find the others, but how? Feeling something crawl on his face, Agunamon saw a small beetle flying right in front of his face. It was one of Shino's Kakechu beetles. Good thing Shino didn't take you with him. Agunamon said with an appreciative smile, now can you take me to him? As if understanding the armored warrior's question, the small beetle began to fly through the heavy mist with Agunamon following it. It wasn't too long until the warrior saw a dome made of mirrors with Sasuke, Hinata, and Shino getting attacked from all directions by something as needles were jabbed into their bodies. Eyes. Agunamon called out as he then saw the hunter ninja look at him from one of the mirrors. So you have arrived. The hunter ninja said as the attack on the three Konoha ninja had stopped, I must ask you to stop what you are doing and leave. You have no idea what you are getting yourself into. At chance. Agunamon said as flames enveloped his fists, pyro punch. The warrior of fire released a barrage of fireballs from his fists as each of them had hit the mirrors, but to his surprise, none of the mirrors had showed any signs of melting or breaking. Please, the hunter ninja said after going through another onslaught of attacks, I must insist that you surrender right now. That's not going to happen. Agunamon as his entire body was covered in flames, pyro tornado. The armored warrior jumped in the air and spun around, causing the flames to spin around him like a twister, before slamming one of the mirrors with a powerful kick. Well, what should have completely shattered the mirror, it had only caused a small crack to form, much to the hunter ninja's surprise. Looks like your mirrors aren't as tough as you claim them to be. Agunamon said with a smirk on his face, pyro. Swish. Huh? Agunamon said with confusion as he was suddenly inside of the dome, how the hell did I get in here? Sasuke, how could you? Hinata called out as Agunamon looked to see Uchiha standing outside of the dome. How could you use a substitution jutsu on our own ally? He did what? Agunamon roared in anger and shock before feeling an onslaught of needles being jabbed into his body. After the onslaught, Shino noticed the hunter ninja distracted by questioning Sasuke on his action. Agunamon, Shino began as he ignored the many needles in his body, you need to use the move that had cracked the mirror before he. Shino couldn't finish as another onslaught of needles jabbed themselves into the trio's bodies. The Aburami quickly used his beetles to cover himself and the others in a dome, but the needles were still somehow getting through to them. Seeing a moment to act, small flames appeared from the warrior's gauntlets as Agunamon took aim. Pyro darts. The warrior of fire called out as he flew his free hand over the flames, launching a barrage of flames towards all the mirrors he could find. The barrage didn't last long as the needles were somehow snuffing out the flames before some of them jabbed themselves into Agunamon's legs, causing said warrior to fall down after hitting certain pressure points. I will make this as painless as possible for you. The hunter ninja said before jumping out of the mirror. Time seemed to move slowly as the hunter ninja charged towards Agunamon, Senbon needles ready to end his life. So this is it. Naruto thought to himself as he could hear his own heartbeat, to battle die with a lot of regrets. Before the attack could land, Hinata and Shino quickly stood between Agunamon and the hunter ninja, bravely taking the fatal onslaught of needles that jabbed themselves deep into their flesh. Shino. Hinata. Agunamon cried out as the attack had ended with said duo falling to the cold concrete. The warrior pulled himself to the duo and pushed himself up with his arms. Why did you guys do it? Agunamon asked with shocked eyes, that attack was meant for me. Why? Because Aguni-san, Hinata said with a weakened voice, you are our friend, you and your friends care so much about Naruto-kun, so that makes us friends. She is right, Agunamon, Shino said with labored breath. Naruto is one of our closest friends, and we are willing to protect him. Aguni-san, Hinata asked as she weakly placed a hand in the warrior's. Can you do something for me? What is it? Agunamon asked as he held back his tears to the best of his abilities. When you see Naruto-kun again, tell him, Hinata said as her eyes slowly began to close. Tell him that I love him. Shock overcame Naruto as he was watching through Agunamon's eyes until Shino placed his own hand in Agunamon's. I also wish to tell Naruto, Shino began as his breathing became heavy, that I am glad that I became such a close friend to him. I am deeply sorry about this, Naruto-san. Both Hinata and Shino became limp as tears were now falling freely from Agunamon's eyes while the hunter ninja and Sasuke watched. Have you ever witnessed death? The hunter asked, getting silence from the warrior. It is the fate of a ninja to die in battle before their friends. This is our life. A small whisper was heard from the warrior as the hunter asked, what did you say? Agunamon then raised his head, revealed glowing blood-red eyes, and said, I said shut up. The hunter ninja and Sasuke watched in awe and fear as a massive flame soon covered Agunamon's body, while a massive wave of killing intent violently erupted through the area. What's going on here? The hunter asked as the flames soon took on the form of a large dragon. This killing intent. I've never felt such power before. But Tazuna, he and his young bodyguards felt the killing intent violently rush past them. What in Kami's name was that? Sakura asked as she heard Akamaru whining in fear as the pressure was starting to get to them. How the hell should I know? Kiba said as he was frozen right into the ground in fear. But Zabuza, the swordsman, let out a gasp as he felt the massive killing intent slam itself against his body. What is this? Zabuza asked himself without revealing his location. This much power couldn't be coming from Kakashi, that woman, or any of those brats. No human could ever possess such killing intent. But Kakashi and Kurenai, the two jonin, felt the wave of killing intent hit them and making them look towards the source. What is this? Kurenai asked with fear in her voice. This can't really be Zabuza or his apprentice. This must be Agunamon. No, Kurenai. Kakashi said as he had a good idea of what was coming. I believe that he's no longer Agunamon, as he had lost control to his more primal beast form. Inside the ice dome, the flames that had covered Agunamon had died down and vanished to reveal a large dragon-like creature in blood-red armor with orange feathery wings and two large spear-like weapons resting on his forearms. The beast's eyes glowed dangerously red from the sheer bloodlust it had as it had its sights on the hunter ninja. The dragon let out another wave of killing intent through the form of a threatening and dangerous roar. Earning Greymon. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.